Well, these arrived this afternoon pretty early. And I've been going back and forth all day wondering what I want to do. I mean, to be realistic about it, there's a reason I went back and forth for quite a while and landed on this, and that's the budget. I felt this was the most I wanted to spend at this time to add another scope to the lineup that's better than the Bushnell, to add another piece of glass to the kit. Would I love an attacker? Sure. They're $2,900. A ZCO or an SMB? Absolutely. They're $4,000 to $6,000. So, I mean, it is what it is. I went back and forth on Mark IV versus Mark V. I have a Mark V. I've been curious about the 4. It's really similar. Not identical, but I'm going to open this up and then we're going to take a look. I think we're going to keep it and move forward. I can't justify spending more money right now. And a very early morning to you all. All right, so I did some final due diligence. I posted an MT6, asked for any input from people that might have a Mark IV. I didn't find anything like that. I found a couple sarcastic comments. I found some guys saying it's too much magnification for an HK. I don't know about that. When you watch the CDOS video on the 3.6 to 18 Mark V, he does reference that once you get up to 12x, 12 to 18, the clarity and all that starts to diminish. When it came to the Mark IV models, the 4 point, I think it's 4 point something to 18, or is it 4 to 18? I saw lots of guys who had those, and they mentioned that they rarely even run it at the 4.5 or whatever it is. That they keep it at 6 at the base. So my logic is, given the fact that the Mark IV 4 to 18 versus the 6 to 24, they're the same dimensions, same weight, I think, but give or take a half an ounce. Having a little more top end magnification would make more sense. One of the reasons I got the QD version this time of the Spur is that I can try it on maybe the bolt gun. That's got the other 5 to 30 Bushnell, which is same as this. Which again, they're pretty good scopes, but it probably is an upgrade on the Bushnell when it comes to the Mark IV. And being QD, I can try it after I get it zeroed, and then I can re-zero it and just give it a shot if I choose. A large part of it is the set budget, man. I pretty much budgeted around $2,000 for a dedicated scope for this gun at this moment. I didn't want to go too much more crazier than that. I'm still paying down the cards, I've paid down a good chunk, but I didn't want to, drop $4 or $5 and then boost that debt way back up again right now. So I've come to after a little more thought on it, we're going to keep it. We're going to open it up. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to get it mounted. And we've got our QD. So we'll be able to have options to try it on maybe the bolt gun. My other thought was maybe run it on the LMT and then put the 5HD on the HK, but that doesn't really make sense. We'll leave that on the LMT. That is a 20-inch 6.5. It's a slightly better scope. Very similar in a lot of ways. I was looking up some of the differences, watching a few more videos, and I did see one person mention that he talked to a rep at Leupold, and they said a large part of the price difference between the Mark V and the Mark IV is the lens coating itself. It's like a military abrasion diamond coating. That's $400 to $500, or he claimed was a big part of that. So the lens coating on the Mark IV is something called the Guardian lens coating, which the rep said is similar, but the one on the Mark V is slightly better because it meets military standards. But there's a lifetime warranty, so if you do happen to scratch your shit or fuck it up, from what I understand, they will take care of you anyway. Parallax is 25 yards on the Mark IV. It's 50 yards at the minimum on the 5. So the 25 will come into handy if I ever build a dedicated 22 and you're running like a 50-yard match. The turrets are at 10 mil increments versus I believe the ones on the Mark V. It's an odd number. I forgot what that number was, but it's more logical on the Mark IV. I relieve 3.6 to 3.8 inches on the Mark IV versus 3.8 to 4 on the Mark V, so that's pretty much negligible. The turrets are apparently much easier to read. They're a bit larger in font on the Mark IV, which will help my blind ass, I think. 27.5 ounces on the 4 versus 30 ounces on the 5. So it's a bit lighter. And all in all, I think we've got a good quality, decent scope. It's not some next level Super Gucci ZCO or SMB or Attacker 4-16 or 4-20, but right now it'll do. And that's where we're at. And that's my final choice on the matter. So let's open her up and take a look together. Let me make some space here, though. Let me get rid of this big boy. Oh! He's a chunky feller, but he's a sexy dude. Oh, man. 4 in the morning. I'm messing with this shit. I'm so OCD about this crap. Oh, well. Everyone needs a hobby. There you go, big fella. Let me get you back out there, man. Let me get some more 308 in the door, too. I keep forgetting to order some. All right. So, let's go ahead and move you over here, Mr. HK, sexy man. And now, the official Cobra Check moment. No going back at, well, when'd you break the seal? Get off of there. There we go. All right, let's dive in there, shall we? Should go pause and go make another cup of coffee. I'm still kind of tired, but got up. Well, the dogs wanted to go out, and I said, "Fuck it, let's make some coffee." So now I'm up at 4 in the morning, looking at gun shit. All right, so we've got a little Allen key. I assume that's the turrets. You don't get the flip up caps with the 4 like you do with the 5. Although I replaced those with those. Other ones, what are they called? Something machine. I found the stock caps that came with the Mark V a little chintzy, to be honest. And this is just your standard, like, bikini type cover, where it's still plastic, but it'll suffice for now. I may see if I can find a better set. And here's the big boy. We got our Leupold get started. Yada yada paperwork. Ooh, that's nice and light too. And there we have our 6-24 Mark 4 HD. I love the larger font on those turrets, actually. Much easier to read. And I saw some guys were mentioning there's some changes they made to the Mark IV that they want to see on the Mark V. I gotta go back and see which ones. The parallax dial, it's a little stiff. It's actually perfect. It's not too loose. You've got infinity down to 25 yards is the dot, whereas the Mark V is 50. So I can see how that could be beneficial. As far as the turrets themselves, you don't get the little pop-up indicator like the 5. However, it is a locking turret. Locks into 0. That's good. Similar to the Mark V. Mark V is a bit crispier, I can already tell. And this is also locking, which is a nice feature. I don't think the 5 has that. I think that's one of the things they mentioned they wish the 5 had. where both the elevation and the windage have a locking turret, so they can't be bumped. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. We have 6 throw handle. It's about similar to the 5, maybe a touch more stiff, but not much. Also, once you start breaking them in, they get a little easier. Little resistance, but I'm not having to use a lot of force either. I'm not fighting it. And we'll have that higher top end versus the 18. I think for someone like me, as blind as I am, it'll come in handy. All right, so I guess let's get this other one off. I'm going to make another cup of coffee so I'm as wide awake as possible. And we'll get him into this pretty spur QD. Those levers are solid as fuck. I like that. Yeah, okay, cool. And then once we get that mounted and somewhat leveled and locked down, we're going to steal the 12 o'clock dot off of the 5 that we currently have with the adapter there for the spur. And it makes more sense to run it on this, I think, than the 5 to 25. Eventually we'll have one on both, because why not? And we'll go from there. Cool. All right, exciting. Sunday morning with Jake America. Before I make that second cup of coffee, let's go ahead and take that Match Pro off of there. Well, that'll go back on his host, which is the 6 arc. We'll have to re-zero, but that's fine. The more I have to re-zero, the better I'll get at it. Okay. Well, the HK is the one that's odd, that even with the adapter for the 308, it still doesn't fit. It's huge down there. I wonder if they'll make one dedicated. There we go. Now these mounts, like Badgers and this Night Force, I like the fact that they have a big bolt and I don't. I mean, they stick out, but look, you're never going to strip them. All right, buddy. Put you back out of your house. And do you have to adjust these? Or is it like a dedicated tension? Pull towards you and open. Got it. Okay. And are these directional? I want to keep those out of the way. I gotta say, these spurs are really impressively machined. I'm really happy. They cost a bit of money. They're about twice the price of your Badgers and your Reptilias. And that's, what are you? I probably have a bunch of T20. Okay. But I'm really impressed with the quality of the machining. Plus, the attachment method is pretty cool too. All right, that looks like that's the front one because that has the top end. Yeah, that has the top end, so we attach to the 12 o'clock. So that's the rear. That's the front. Yeah, okay. As far as placement, I think we need to come forward just a hair. It's kind of blocking our charging hand a little bit. So we're gonna right about there. Yeah, that's good. So let's go ahead and right now everything's just loose. Let's go ahead and okay, that closes pretty. There's not a whole lot of tension there. I think we have to adjust that. It's not as tight as I want it to be. So we're gonna have to adjust that. That's fine. Well, let's take a look. Looks pretty cool. Aesthetics, you know. Leupold. All right. So let me go make a cup of coffee. Let me figure out how to adjust the tension to make those cuties a little bit tighter. And then we'll get the screws out, and then we'll torque those down to spec. Let me grab my fix-it sticks. We'll level this bad boy as best we can. And actually, it's the size is it looks pretty good. You can never tell till you throw it on a gun. But compared to the Mark 5 to 25, it's definitely much smaller. That's pretty dope. Huh, cool. Alright, so we'll get all this done. We might even head out and shoot it today. And then we'll move on forward. Alright. Alright, so adjust that tension a bit. A little more. Let's give that a shot. There we go. Just want him to be snug. That feels good. Maybe a touch more. What do you think? What good arm? Oh, there. That's up a little more. Oh, there you go. So that one a little more. That's a little bit net. Yeah, a little more resistance. A little more. All right. Go. Ooh, you know, this with that. That's a little more. And then we're come back to that. Let's see if I can get this hair over here. A little more forward on the front. Feels good. That's solid. Let's check our spacing again. Yeah, it's pretty good. A little overhang. Nothing crazy. We're pretty much towards the end of the upper, and it's not a mono setup, so you don't want to bridge. So that should be fine. And then we have you, and we have you. Do a quick visual. I think that's about where you want it there. Obviously, we're going to have to fine tune it. But let's get them in place a bit, and then we can go from there. Okay, good. The angle was, it feels weird because they're not used to that with scopes. Usually they're pretty perpendicular, so forgot. So let's see. Yeah. They're pretty good from a top-down look. We have extra screws here. Okay. Yeah, and I also like how there's sets of 3 on each one instead of 2. It's a solid mount, man. Yeah, they cost a bit of money, but after having that first one, I was like, oh, you can see where the added cash goes. It's a really smart design, and the attachment method is really smart too. It's just, you know, what we might do after we swap that 12 o'clock dot off the Mark 5, we should get a Raptor for him for when I do join either Volusia or that farm place. Maybe we'll try one of those Fire 4000 things. You gonna go in there, buddy? No? Well, wonder why you're fighting this. Try another screw. You don't have the angle just right. There you go. Alright, so I'm going to finish you off with the fix-it sticks. Let's just make sure you're somewhat snug. Alright, and we'll put 3 spare screws. Well, that's good to know. Let's put those back in the little plastic thingy, and we'll put that in the Leupold box. Okay. Alright. Also, this is the PR3. That piqued my interest. I wanted to try a more simplistic reticle for a 16.5. you don't need Christmas trees on everything. I don't know if that was a good call or not. We'll know once I get it out there and start shooting. Those Christmas trees can be a little distracting, so figured it. Let's try it. Feels nice. All right, so I'm going to check level and torque it with the fix-its to spec. And then that's pretty much it. You just got to get out to the range and zero it and see what's what. All right, cool.